morning. What a wonderful thing to be here with you all. Let's rise in body and or spirit as you feel led to join in some singing. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart. Yeah, there's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart, and in my mind, there's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind. Yeah, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind. Yes, yes. And there is more love somewhere, I believe. Yes. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. More hope. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere, and there is more joy. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere. Quien quiera que seas y donde quiera que estés, en tu jornada de la vida o del Espíritu, te damos la bienvenida a nuestros corazones. Please be seated. Whoever you are, wherever you are on the journey of life or the journey of spirit, we welcome you into our hearts. My name is Reverend Mykal Slack. I'm the community minister for worship and spiritual care for Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism and a proud Atlantan. And I'm very, very happy to welcome you all to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Atlanta, where we are transforming lives through courageous action and soulful connection. No matter where you come from or what your life is like, regardless of whether or not you have access to meaningful work, no matter your gender or gender expression, no matter who you love or how you understand relationships, we want you to know, in case you didn't already, that this is a space of healing, joy, love, learning, and grace. May it be yours. May it be yours and all of ours as we gather here together and as we leave this place. At this time, I would like to welcome our liturgist, Kate Sweeney, up to the chancel to light our chalice.
See, when I'm not up here, I'm like, this is a simple thing, and then I get up here.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Let's say the chalice lighting words together. May the light of this flame illuminate our tradition of seeking, invite all who yearn for acceptance, and ignite our passion for justice and peace.
This is I Am Peace, a book of mindfulness by Susan Verde, art by Peter H. Reynolds. There are times the thoughts in my head are like rushing water, and I feel like a boat with no anchor, being carried away. I give myself a moment. I take a breath. And then I tell myself, it's all right. I feel the ground beneath my feet and steady myself and start to notice the here and the now. My thoughts begin to settle. My mind begins to clear. I am peace. I let things go. I can say what I feel inside out loud. I know myself. I can share kindness with others. I make a difference. I can hug a tree and thank it for its beauty and strength. I connect to nature. I can watch the clouds make shapes against the sky. I know wonder. I can taste and smell and touch and hear and see what is all around me. I use my senses. I can feel my breath fill my whole body. I tune into me. Now the water is still. I have found my anchor and everything is all right. I don't need to worry about before or after. I am in this moment. I am peace. Now I share my peace with others and hope that it is carried away to those who need it. And I dream we are peace. I would like to now invite my family, David and John, to join me in the chancel to lead us in this morning's movement prayer. And I would very much like to invite you to join us as well. So please rise in body or in spirit to join us. Hey, guys. First, we bow to honor the spirit of life. We lift our arms and embrace the gifts of spirit. We bring these gifts unto ourselves with gratitude and breathe and smile. We share these gifts with the world. We remember to be present. Honor, embrace, gratitude, share, be present. Thank you. At this time, we would like to invite our children, 5th grade and under, to exit and join preschool or their creative workshop for the morning. Please note the locations for these are just down the hall on the first floor, that away. And as our children recess, please take this opportunity to greet your neighbor, especially someone you have not met.
No pressure.
There's an old man called the Mississippi. There's an old man that I long to be. What does he care if the world's got troubles? What does he care if the land ain't free? Old Man River, that old man river, ye must know something, but don't say nothing. He just keeps rolling, he keeps on rolling along. He don't plant taters, he don't plant cotton, and them that plant some is soon forgotten. But Old Man River, he just keeps rolling along. Don't look up and don't look down, and don't that make the white boss frown. Bend your knees and bow your head and pull that rope until you're dead. I get weary and sick of a-tryin'. I'm tired of living and scared of dying, but Old Man River, it just keeps rolling along. You and me, we sweat and strain. Body all aching and racked with pain. Tote that barge, lift that bale. You get a little drunk and you land in a jail. I get weary and sick of a-trying. I'm tired of living, but scared of dying. But old man River, he just keeps rolling on.
Thank you. Are you able to move the microphone? Yeah. Thank you, baby. Let's just take a moment. I'm not kidding. Woo. Sir. In the spirit of living and not dying. Thank you. And also in the spirit of living and not dying. A reading called Flow from a soul called Joel. I feel a pull in our universe at this moment. The pull to be free from the things that are no longer serving us. We'll get glimpses of moments of passion. Yes, we'll get glimpses of moments of passion or creative inspiration. That feeling when time is lost and it's as if something has taken over you, and you are no longer the author, but the messenger and scribe. Embrace that feeling now. When we are in those moments, we are shown glimpses of our higher selves. Some call it the universe, or God, or spirit guides. Me, I prefer the term flow. Like water, may we effortlessly flow with all of life. Release all that you hold and flow. Surrender, beautiful souls. Let go of trying to control the flow of life in every moment and connect to the higher consciousness of Source. That is when the magic happens. Relax and breathe and flow. No longer trying to force life. I don't know if I'm the only one here who tries to do that. No longer trying to force life. We allow ourselves to connect to the highest expression of our existence, the greatest giver of all. When we are connected to the source of life, it liberates us from ego and the need to force or push. Connected, we simply exist in love, harmony, and light. May we all surrender the things that are no longer serving us, so that we may embody pure love, harmony, and light, and get in the flow like water. For the remainder of this time, let your breath and the frequency of all that will be in our music and our words be your gateway into your own resonance with flow, and embrace your strength in flexibility, the power of water. Ashe. Join me. Because of religion, which like sunshine goes everywhere, its temple space, its shrine, the good heart, its creedal truth, its ritual works of love. Once again. Because a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere, its temple of grace, its shrine, the good heart, its creedal truth, its ritual works of love. Let us put hands on hearts. Feel the heartbeat, connection to life. Breathe in peace and say to yourself silently, I will love myself, I will love others, and that love can heal the world. You are invited to say the names of people you are holding in your heart this morning. Speak their names out loud into this holy space as you feel led. Now. May all beings find connection. May all people find comfort. May all of us find ways to be more loving to one another. Spirit of life, love eternal, we rest in holy gratitude. We surrender to a mystery beyond ourselves, asking forgiveness for our mistakes, those times we have been selfish or thoughtless, breathing in and out. We offer grace. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. We honor our earth, supporting and sustaining life. We breathe in, opening our hearts to wonder for just one moment, feeling a deep connection with all beings. Let us calm our bodies and our minds. We breathe in peace, and then we exhale. We relax into this space that our intentions make sacred. We enter into the silence. fills everywhere its temple of space. It's just a good heart, it's creed, all truth, it's ritual works of love. Ashe.
We're thinking a lot about mindfulness this week, which can bring to mind calming imagery and meditation. I know the meditation, like the one we just had, I look forward to it each week. It grounds and centers me. But thinking about mindfulness also brings me back to a moment of being mindfully called in. This occasion was not comfortable. I was at the office and an email popped up from a newish coworker. It read, "Kate, can we talk when you get a moment?" I bounced over to my colleague's cubicle and I was surprised when they looked at me and said, "I'm not saying this in judgment, but I take issue with the link in the email you sent yesterday, and I'm wondering why you decided to send that." As they spoke, I felt my ears burn. I felt my chest tighten. It's true, I had sent a link that this coworker and possibly other colleagues too had found to be insensitive. But my first split-second reaction, pure defensiveness. I hadn't meant anything. Why did they have to do this? My second reaction, a realization, oh no, they were totally right. It had been insensitive, which meant I was a bad person. But as our Unitarian Universalism calls us to ask, how useful really are good guy, bad guy labels? My colleague was not trying to make me a bad guy. They weren't trying to call me out on my behavior. Instead, they were doing something different, mindfully calling me into this dialogue. And that meant something, to be confronted and then cared for right through the fallout. That conversation did not mark the end of our work relationship. In fact, we grew closer. Now, in this religious community, I have witnessed and experienced the same sort of thing, moments of mindful tension between congregants, subsequent growth, and continued miraculous relationship through it all. And I mean, even when conflicts don't go smoothly, sometimes they don't, it means something to me that this is an ideal that I know this community is striving towards. UUCA has taught me so much about what it means to be mindfully called in, and I believe I have grown because of it. I hope I have. I believe this is a key skill for the growth of humanity, especially now, during a time when our larger society's social fabric often seems more torn than whole. If you'll follow me with that metaphor, I feel like UUCA offers us a sewing kit to stitch it back together, and a sewing circle to boot. All of you, all of us. To me, this is critical work, undoubtedly worth supporting with my time, my talents, and my treasure. So consider what lessons in mindfulness UUCA has taught you, and please join with me now. The offering will be given and gratefully received.
We're gonna make it. Cross this river alive. We need to think like a boat. Go with the tide. Well, I know where you've been. It's really left you in doubt of ever finding a harbor, figuring this out. We're gonna need all the help you can get. Just lift up your arms now. Reach for it. Reach for it. Take your time, babe. It's not as bad as it seems. You'll be fine, babe. It's just some rivers and streams in between you and where you wanna be. Watch the signs now. Know what they mean. You'll be fine now. Just stay close to me and make good hope. Walk with you through everything. Take your time, babe. It's not as bad as it seems. You'll be fine, babe. Just some rivers and streams in between you and where you wanna be. Watch the signs now. You'll know what they mean. You'll be fine now. Just stay close to me and make good hope. Walk with you through everything. May the song of good hope be with you through everything.
And now please join us in the dedication of the offering.
To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action we call community, we dedicate our lives, and these our offerings. Thank you. Hey, everybody. Maui's Wayanapa State Park on the eastern side of the island is a truly magnificent place. Its remote, wild, volcanic coastline is a place of solitude and respite from everything upbeat, overrun, and overpriced. The black sand of the Pauiloa Beach that is nestled within a 120-acre park is unlike anything we might see here on the continental United States. Signs of the impacts of nature on herself are everywhere. It's clear that the people who have made Maui home for generations have done as much as they possibly can to preserve the beauty and power of the land and the water there. It's a testament to what has been lost here, actually. and what can be found when we care for the land as much as we endeavor to care for ourselves. I was lucky. Because of the power of mutual relationships and skills honed over years, I was offered an opportunity to visit the state of Hawaii for 2 months over the summer of 2022 and serve as the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu's summer minister. And as a last hope to care for myself after an intensely busy and life-changing period of ministry, I made the trek from Oahu to Maui to travel the road to Hana, a pretty desolate 60-mile drive with over 600 hairpin turns, culminating in a visit to the state park and Pauiloa Beach. It was a very long drive, with a few not-so-fun leg cramps, and a lot of time to think. One of the first things I spotted once I made the journey down the cliffs to the beach was an opening. Not a comfortable one for me. It was just big enough for me to fit my body into it, but I had to bend down and contort myself a bit to make my way through it. Once inside and able to get comfortable in my body again, I realized I was in a small lava tube that sat right at the shoreline of the beach. Black rocks wide enough to sit on and black sand everywhere. You can see it in the image behind me. All as a result of lava flows hundreds of years before. And an opening to the ocean let the Pacific in, all the way in. Waves crashing and settling right at my feet. I'm not going to lie to you. It was scary. It was. I'm not a swimmer, you see. So those classes that I took 30-some years ago, without a lot of access to pools and large bodies of water in my everyday life, which is an entirely different sermon that I will not give today, those classes don't mean very much to me anymore. And so the idea that I was even in this tiny little space with water, lots of water, coming in and out, made me question my choices. Why on earth would I want to do this? Exactly. Why would I want to be here for any amount of time? It's pretty and everything. It's beautiful. And it matters to me that I honor the land that I'm living in and near. But it seems dangerous. A large swell could fill this little cave with water at any moment, and I'd be left, honestly, with very few options to protect myself beyond trusting my body and my mind to do what they need to do to get me out. Before I knew it, I was already in a space of worry and regret. My moment in that cave is actually not a far cry from where we sometimes find ourselves as people of faith and good conscience in sticky situations. When we know there could be consequences for faithful action, something told me to go down there, and I did it. When we are stuck between the silence that we may be used to and the naming of hard things with people we love. Thank you for that story. When we are faced with the choice to run from or stay in the discomfort for the sake of relationship, for covenant, or for Unitarian Universalism that in its truest and best form is more often messy and hard to nail down than not. Some of you may know what I'm talking about. Yes, I heard that. I really heard that. Thank you. I'm reminded of moments I hear about all the time, of folks coming to our congregations because of our principles, because of the words that we use, often, but then have the hardest time living into. Right? Sometimes more often than we want. Right? Because those words resonate in people's bodies and in their souls, and they show up and then find themselves surprised. And as a minister, I end up sitting with folks through these moments a lot. The aftermath of these moments, right? Where folks find themselves surprised by ageism or racism or transphobia or classism in these spaces that are supposed to be so safe and so good and so perfect. So surprised that they're not sure how to move through. In those moments, we're often being asked to listen more deeply and to trust. Called even. I actually don't believe that ministers are the only people called on this earth. I think we all are. Called even into deep listening and deep trust. Deep listening is an act of surrender because we risk being changed by what we hear, says Valerie Kaur in her book, See No Stranger, a memoir and manifesto on revolutionary love. In the context of engaging with other people, Kaur even talks here about quieting her own thoughts so she can listen to others with all of her available senses. Deep listening. What would happen? What would happen if we did that more often for ourselves? What would happen if we paused in any given situation, whatever it is, re-entered the moment in the fullness of our bodies, listening to all that makes us who we are, and listening to all about how we receive that input? It may or may not mean slowing down in the moment, but it absolutely means being intentional and attentive enough to not get lost in what our brains suggest is the one and only way to move through. I appreciated your story, Kate, about thinking, well, I must be a bad person. But you did that. You took a step. Wait a minute. This might not be the only way to think about this. In that cave, I was reminded of a book I'd been reading off and on over the previous months called Undrowned. Undrowned, Black Feminist Lessons from Marine Mammals. It's an incredible book. It's an incredible book, Undrowned, Black Feminist Lessons from Marine Mammals, by a poet and author named Alexis Pauline Gumbs, who is a remarkable human being and a beautiful writer. In it, she offers these words about surrender, which is what I believe these moments call for. And what happens if we just let go? Like dolphins who beach themselves on shore to eat and trust the tide to bring them back into the water. Or who time their birth cycles to seasonal floods, or migrate across the world following warm currents on a menopausal planet. What would it take to tune in with our environment enough to be in flow with the earth, with what grounds us most deeply, instead of in struggle against it? What would it take to be in tune with our environment enough to be in flow with it, instead of in struggle against it? See, all of the work that we do requires being fully present in body, mind, and spirit. It makes surrender possible. When we are fully aware of what's happening in here, it allows us to say, wait a second. When there's surrender, there's vulnerability, which is hard for a lot of us. Am I right? Vulnerability is hard. And when vulnerability is present, trust isn't too far behind. As I began to reflect on the immediacy of my worry and lack of trust, and Alexis's hopes for our surrender in her incredible book, I noticed my body start to settle into that moment. My breathing slowed. I started listening to the water and the sounds the waves made at different points of contact with the rocks and the walls of the lava tube. I was finally able to sit down and rest. How many of us have a hard time resting? See, I knew about some of y'all. I sat on one of those rocks for a long time, reading and even writing a bit in my journal, watching the water and feeling the waves as they ebbed and flowed. Truthfully, it was a lot. It was a lot to take in, but it was okay that it turned out to be simultaneously tranquil and still a little bit terrifying. But my body helped me settle into that which was terrifying about it, so that mostly it was tranquil. I knew who I was in the moment, and I could just be. In my life as a minister and a facilitator of culture shift work, I get to journey with folks through those scary places that many of us find ourselves in all the time as we do the work of belonging and meaning making in all the places we endeavor to call home, including our congregations. Whether it's where we live, work, or go to church, we are often confronted with a situation that we can become immediately skeptical of, mostly because we've never encountered that situation before and aren't sure what the right way is, or we know full well what to expect because it's what we're used to getting from the people we're around and the places we're in. I'm reminded of what I tell people all the time in that work, and apparently what I needed to recall for myself that afternoon sitting on Black Rock at the water's edge. What matters most, friends, is our presence. Our presence. Can you say that word with me? Presence. Presence, especially in the uncertainty. To let go of what we think we know or what we're certain we don't understand. And be open to what's possible when all the elements come together to give us an opportunity to be made better by the experience. In the moments we can't quite wrap our heads and hearts around, it's not easy to remain present. It's not. Our minds start to race, like mine did that day, like Kate's did in that moment, right? Whether it's a moment of uncertainty, change, or conflict, the tightness of mistrust is often the first thing we feel. And sometimes it is for good reason. And it doesn't have to be the last. Being confronted by the intensity of these moments brings a real part of living in the world and a necessary aspect of growing in our Unitarian Universalism. In this faith where we are all supposed to have the space to show up fully as ourselves and all show up with differing needs and hopes for our individual and collective growth and liberation, we are not all the same, friends. Intense moments are bound to happen. But trust and deep listening are a good way to help us move through. Admittedly, it took me a minute, but thank the gods for Alexis, who helped remind me that just because I've not had as much access to water as I'd have liked over the years, it didn't mean that I'm not deeply connected to it. With the help of community and remembrance, I got to rediscover some things about myself that day. And now I get to hold on to what I found and have it with me whenever I need it. I got that much closer to the highest expression of my existence in that moment. What helps you get closer to the highest expression of yours? Do you know? Perhaps it is worth consideration. My hope for all of us, is that we can recall when it matters most, what opens us up to life and possibility, so that we might, repeat after me, release all that we hold, and flow, Amen. Ashe, and blessed be. For each child that's born, a morning star rises, sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the spirit rises early. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and moms of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and mothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandmother's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. May we all have openness to say what Alexis Pauline Gumbs goes on to say in her beautiful book. I am learning to trust myself at the shoreline. I am grateful to all of my collaborators for showing me that we can be out of place and better for it. We can trust cycles older than our species. We can do this in-between work with grace and surrender, with patience and bravery, with all of who we are, and what made us will reclaim us as soon as the tide. May it be so. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises, sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. May it be so. Go in peace, friends.